All right, 8.5 hours before kickoff, here's what we know about Alex Smith. I just talked to a team official who said that Alex Smith will arrive at the stadium here, FedEx Field, about 4:30, 5 o'clock. He'll be evaluated later this afternoon, and then when he gets to the stadium, he is determined to start in this football game and play in this game. He did very little this week, less than he did leading up to the game against Philadelphia, has still experienced soreness and stiffness at the end of the week, so they want to evaluate him when he gets to the stadium, SP. And one last note, I just got a text from Bucs head coach Bruce Arians, who said that wide receiver Mike Evans is good to go tonight.
Wow, that's great news for Bucs fans, of course. That may be some trouble for this Washington defense. But let's get back to the Alex Smith situation, Matt, because obviously this guy's going to be nowhere near 100%. But after what he's been through, you had to know that if he was physically able to play at all, he was going to play in this game. What do you think you'll see from him out there today?
Well, he's got the determination of a warrior. We've already seen that. So if he can be out there, he will be. But there's a reason that the Washington football team is 5-1 with him as the starter and 2-8 with everyone else, because he does things that you may not notice, but he does things right. He plays winning football. Specifically, I think in the red zone this year, a good example of it is, you guys know this, when you're completing the ball at the front of the goal line, that tight end receiver expects it belly button or lower. So the ball doesn't get up on him too quick. That's winning football. Belly button or lower at the front of the goal line. When it's at the back of the end zone, it's face mask or higher. Logan Thomas has 3 touchdowns this year. We got this report with Alex Smith, I believe, because he knows where to expect the ball. That's us or nobody, face mask or higher. So these little things that Alex Smith does that don't necessarily show up in the stat sheet, but it's winning football. It's one of the reasons he's had such a long career, such a successful career. But today, it's got to be that plus cut it loose. And that's what we haven't seen much out of Alex Smith in this Washington team so far.
And I think the closer, I don't know about cutting it loose, and I don't know if he's possible of doing that because, I mean, if he is hampered back there, he'll want to be who he has been in getting rid of the football very quickly. McKissick, Gibson, if he goes, those type of running backs out of the backfield. But when you do that, guys, you put pressure on the other team. What I mean is this, okay, three downs, you punt the ball. You play good defense, you make a play. You're playing sort of the field position game. And do you think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers can feel some type of pressure if the game's close going into the second half? Absolutely. That's what I think Alex Smith is possibly capable of, just doing what he does, and it'll keep it close because the defense is that good, I feel.
You know, one thing that Alex Smith, being a teammate of his, does very well is being able to protect the ball, not turning the ball over. Matt, you made a great point of him being able to let it go. Guess who's on the other side over there? We're talking about the greatest quarterback of all time coming into your house. So I think there is a sense of urgency. You know, Sam, you're talking about as much as he's been through. Yes, we expect to see a guy like Alex Smith, but I expect to see an Alex Smith back there in the pocket being able to deliver the ball to his pass catchers. You talk about the guys coming off the injury with McLaurin and Gibson. Today, collectively, as a whole unit, offensively, those guys, quarterback is going to have to let the ball go, but the playmakers for the Washington football team is going to have to come up and play big because they know what they have on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are so right. Alex Smith, and that warrior that he brings on the field. Unfortunately, this is not the same Alex Smith that you played with and we saw in Kansas City because he can't move. But to your point, Matt, I totally agree with you. He's going to have to shoot it down the field deep. And why do I say that?
How many shots? Are they game plan shots?
But this is why I say that.
1 a quarter.
Tampa Bay is the #1 defense in the league at stopping a run. And if they have some vulnerabilities on the deep ball, we've seen it all season. So to me, I think he has to throw it down the field. This team, guys, it's not a great game plan. I get it, but they're going to have to steal some points. This team has struggled all year offensively. The only shot they got is to hit a couple of big ones. That's why I say they're not going to be able to move the ball with any consistency, in my opinion, against this Tampa defense.
And even taking Alex Smith out of this. Okay, this is a Washington football team that didn't have a great year against, going up against Tampa. I remember when we were 7-9 in Seattle, Pete Carroll's first year. We were playing the mighty New Orleans Saints. The offensive coordinator came in and was like, hey, screw it. Like, what do we have to lose? Let's just cut it loose. On all the routes where you guys were going short, we're going deep. On all the routes that we weren't going to do this, we're going to do something different. Washington is playing with house money right now. They might play with 2 quarterbacks today. They might run flea flickers. What do they have to lose? They have nothing to lose. This team, of all teams, should cut it loose today. I don't care what you got to do. Throw the ball to an offensive lineman today. It doesn't matter.
You're talking about cut it loose. I'm going to tell you something to watch for in this game today. One thing that y'all did put up there, the Washington football team pass catchers were running wide open. The ball's delivered there. Great thing to see. But today, going against this Tampa Bay Bucs, that play to Logan Thomas against the Philadelphia Eagles, that's what we mean by cutting it loose. Alex Smith, Washington football team, Scott Turner, they're going to have to be able to make plays like that against tight coverage against the Tampa Bay Bucs in order to win this game.
When has cutting it loose ever been a part of Alex Smith?
I'll tell you when. When Patrick Mahomes was drafted, when Patrick Mahomes got drafted, we saw a different Alex Smith. Patrick Mahomes was on the bench, and he was like, hey, I got to cut it loose, or this guy's coming up.
Yeah.
And Alex Smith led the entire NFL in QBR that year. They was on fire. It's the best year that he's ever had. Now, I realize it's unfair because he's not healthy and maybe he doesn't have the same weapons, but he's got it in him. Like, this is the time to just, like, he said it in the piece. I like to play every game like it's my last. Go for it.
Yeah,
like, even more.
Absolutely. But let's tell you, Bruce, nobody knows. We're all sitting here and we're like, how are they going to do it? They got to cut a little. Nobody really has a game plan because it looks so one-sided. But, man, oh, man, I can't wait to see it. And I'm pulling for Alex Smith.
Yeah, it's certainly the X factor in this one, the fact that they don't have a whole lot to lose other than the football game, of course. But still, we don't know. We might see Taylor Heineke out there today. He obviously has the history with Scott Turner from their time in Carolina together. A lot of unknowns about this one, but it sure is going to be fun to watch. You do need to note, though, Antonio Gibson and Terry McLaurin both questionable in this one. You say maybe he doesn't have the weapons he had in Kansas City. He definitely doesn't have those.
Are you kidding me? Questionable.
This is the time to play. We still have a whole lot more coming up on Countdown. We are going to talk about it feels like he really means that. I mean, it's been a special year for Philip. There were a lot of people coming into this year that had serious doubts about their decision to sign him. It was an up and down year at times, as you two knew. You called him out a couple of times.
Rex did.
But a lot of bright spots also. If you're thinking, like most people are thinking, that this is it for Philip. I mean, he's already got a high school job lined up for the fall down south. What can he do today, Teddy, to pull off this upset?
Well, Philip's right when he says, he believes they have a shot. They do, but that shot doesn't lie with him, because if he is the main storyline tomorrow after this game, it'll be because they failed. The main storyline offensively for the Indianapolis Colts has to be the running backs, in my opinion. How they use them and how Jonathan Taylor's been an absolute superstar. Like, this is wicked right here, fellas. You can't do this to Schobert, one of the linebackers I feel is pretty good right here in the hole. Just sit him down, and then he's out. That type of direct running type of threat, and then also that speed and elusiveness, that's how special he is. And how they get him the ball is also so creative. They don't even block the defensive front right here for the Jaguars. The O-line gets to the second level, and there's the speed of the Taylor getting upfield and the power to finish, get down to the 1 yard line. And as a backer, that Quentin Nelson, I got to follow him. I see him pulling. I got to go as a backer, but there's a flip away from the pull, and now they got leverage, and then he's out the gate. Great play calling here, great design, the offensive line also, and then Nyheim Hines. This is one picture we don't want to see from a defensive standpoint. The screen pass, watch these two offensive linemen. They're diving at kneecaps. We're getting out the way, fellas, if we see that. I'm telling you right now.
Business decision.
So those type of business decisions because of that good offensive line, but it's got to be the backs. It's got to be Hines. It's got to be Taylor, not Phillip Rivers. That's how the Colts will get it done today.
And I think part of the thing that makes him so dangerous is the speed that you have at tailback. Obviously, Nyheim Hines, we know about him, the track star at NC State, the third down back. But when you talk about Jonathan Taylor, he's 226, approaching 230 pounds. He's a 4.39 40 guy. So you got that power. You get into the third level, you're gone. This is Jonathan Taylor.
It's on a track
meet. Randy, how fast is this? I don't even know.
Man, that's too fast. That might be a world record.
I think a 10.4 won it, but usually you're either fast or big. Rarely is it both. You have both. But I would say this about Jonathan Taylor. We, for some reason, don't talk about him enough. He finished 3rd in rushing this year. We talk about Derrick Henry. We know about Dalvin Cook. 3rd, Jonathan Taylor. Like, who thought of it? We knew about him coming out of Wisconsin. It started slow, but for whatever reason, it is clicking right now for this Colts and for him.
You know, when I look at that tape, you know, we always highlight the wide receiver position, all the special position. We never highlight the guys up front that's opening it up for everybody else. You know, you talk about the offensive line play for the Indianapolis Colts that's been under the radar all season, led by